Hey, friends, welcome to another edition of the show. I'm Joe, and today I've got a very unique guest coming from a very unique place, and I hope you're leaning in. My guest today is the superintendent of Park County School District number 16 in Meeteetse, Wyoming. Everybody say that with me, Meeteetse. Uh,
Matiti.
there it is. The context, I have no idea. It's a town of like 300 plus people, not students,
People.
just
People.
people, right,
Yeah.
boss?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's right. 326, I think, at last census.
Where are you located? You're in Wyoming.
So we're in Wyoming, northwest. It's kind of more north central. Just we are on the east side of Yellowstone.
Okay.
So east side of Yellowstone, Cody, Wyoming, named after Buffalo Bill Cody,
There it is.
is probably our closest town, and that's about 40 miles to the north of us.
Okay. And I don't know, do you have cars there? Or do you
We,
still
we've got cars, we've got a lot of cows, we got a lot of horses. We get elk and grizzly bear and moose and everything else during the summer months, and it's the greatest place on earth
the greatest place on earth? And my guess is you're a superintendent that probably has everybody's name memorized by at least October 1st.
for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Yeah,
probably knows
I
their
know as I
parents and their
right when I first came
grandparents.
in 10 years ago, it was um, looking at a yearbook and being in other places as a principal that principal of a school of 1,800 kids, and I never got to know all of their names. And like you said, probably within the first couple of weeks, you knew every kid. Have been in most people's houses just to visit and say hi, and know them. I would say all of our parents in one way or another, and yep, very tight knit community. We fight like family, and we love like family.
Oh, love that. So you're superintendent of schools, but you also call yourself a PBL innovator, right?
Yeah.
Maybe even before you call yourself an administrator. So you sit on the board of Northwest College, and you chose repeatedly. My guess is repeatedly to stay in a town of 300 plus people when you could have been probably anywhere else. So what's keeping you there, boss?
I think the reason that I stay here is because of the relationship piece that you're able to build. We talked about that a little bit, just the small size. But for me as a superintendent, I can't imagine being a superintendent and not being able to be in a classroom with kids every single day. I think another thing that grounds me here is I have the opportunity to teach on occasion.
Hmm.
In my start of my education career, I was a German teacher and a coach, and it's just been a highlight of mine to still be in the classroom, and I'll be back in the classroom next year teaching German again. And I think the kids start to see as a little bit different than the district administrator, and certainly teachers start to see that you're going through the same stuff that they are.
Oh, I can't imagine just the credibility. It's what the kids would call street cred, right? You have cred because you're in the classroom teaching, and you're having to do the grading, and you're having to follow the stupid whatever system that. No, now you're doing it. Now
Yeah,
you're taking your own medicine. Let me put some context on the table. The industrial model, which I get up every morning to just push it away from all systems, all people. But that American education, it was designed for scale. It was
right.
age graded classrooms,
Yep.
standardized content, seat time, the unit of learning. It was built for cities, right? Built for the
Yep.
factory economy,
Built for a
built for
factory.
a world that no longer exists. And
Yeah,
rural districts in Wyoming have been handed the same model, right? And told
yeah.
you got to make it work. And probably with less money, fewer teachers,
Mhm.
student body that could probably fit in a conference room. So when you look at how most rural superintendents are responding to that, what do you see, Shane? What do you see them doing that isn't working? That you're saying we're just going to do it differently? Because I see you as a bit of a troublemaker out there. Good trouble.
Probably, I probably am the troublemaker of the group. I think that I was very blessed to have such a forward-thinking school board. So my bosses, who came in and said, "We are a farming, ranching community. Our kids learn how to problem solve when they're in charge of watering so many acres and something goes wrong and they're out there and they just have to figure out how to fix that. Why isn't that a part of what we're teaching in school? And so we were I was asked or given the charge to bring back creativity, communication, critical thinking, and problem
Mm,
solving as the four essential characteristics, traits that we just needed to embed into our curriculum. And with that, I mean, it's evolved over the 10 years that I've been here. And it went everywhere from genius hour and letting kids just explore a passion. And we set aside a couple of hours on Fridays to the change that we made this school year, where we said we're going to embrace it full on. We're going to dive in head first. We became a project based learning district in school. And the intent is to have students be co-drivers with us in their education. Because
mm,
truly what we're trying to prepare kids for, none of us know what it is.
yeah.
It's gonna be changing in the next 18 months. Imagine a kid starting in kindergarten now, and we're gonna talk about 13 years from now. We're gonna try to prepare you for that. Well, who knows if calculus is even a thing at that point, and that isn't just something that you have on a single button on your phone or whatever else device you might have in your glasses or whatever that happens to be. But I think that those um, traits or those competencies of being a critical thinker, being able to look at AI and say this doesn't seem right. I need to research more and figure out what is the truth in that. We've lost creativity in our schools.
Mm.
We tell kids you got to color in the lines, and we're like, stop it. If they color outside the lines, that's awesome. Let them explore what it is that they want it to be, and so just really bringing student voice and choice to what we're doing. And I think that rural small districts, even if they're not rural, but small districts that have a local board that embraces concepts outside of the traditional thinking in education, I think we are going to be setting our kids up to be the true designers of the future.
Have you had to have any wrestling matches with your own state Department of Education because of some of those things that you're implementing?
Oh, sure. We wrestle with the State Department. We wrestle with legislators. We wrestle with other districts. We wrestle with inside our school, right? We wrestle with students and parents that are just like not sold that this is the right thing for their kid, and we honestly have to say maybe it's not. However, look at the growth that they've made, and if you're just worried about that report card or the transcript that is traditional 4.0 transcript, we're shifting to a mastery based transcript.
Wow.
So when they are applying to jobs or to colleges, it's going to be a portfolio that they're going to see that's going to show what kids have actually done, not what kids have regurgitated.
So the evidence then, because this is the mythical thing for me, and people that are going to standards based grading or just some project based learning, and I've never really seen it move into something that's truly activated and established within a system. But you've seen 9 commencements, perhaps, yeah. So you've seen a few students that have left your system. Uh,
Right.
where are they going, and why are you proud of the impact that your school system has been able to make in their trajectory of
Yeah.
success?
I love that. One of the things about being small is everybody so well. And so our graduation rate is hovers between 98 to 100%. When you have a class of 3 and you worry about if you lose 1, it's only 66%.
You
Uh,
know where every crack is within.
right.
Nobody slips through the crack.
That's right. So we have to make sure that we're filling those cracks along the way. But as we look at where our kids go, the majority of our kids still pursue a college degree. Of those that start college, I think we're about 75% actually complete with a degree or a certificate. However, we have really started to focus. that no matter what the kid does, that's what we're going to celebrate. A couple years back, we had a student who graduated, and he wanted to just play games and make money on his is it called a Twitch account, something like that? I'm not up with it, but anyway, we did the same type of a celebration for him as we did for every kid that did a university signing, because that's important to know. We've had a kid that graduated from us, and he started a smokehouse truck with his father, and was very successful with that. You know, did other stuff and um, things along that way, but he wasn't college bound, and he's very successful, and we're proud of him. And so, whether they're graduating from a university with high honors, which a lot of our kids are doing, or they're working just still in our community, we love that they're being able to contribute, and that they're good thinkers. And I think with the shift that we're making this year, I think we're going to see more of that, where we're gonna be producing graduates who think for themselves and not think based upon anything that's happening in the world. They're able to critically think about what they want to do and who they want to be, and go out and achieve it.
Yeah, it's just so unique, and I'm wondering what our listeners might be thinking, so I'm
Mhm.
anticipating that. I mean, you're
They're probably
serving
saying
students.
this guy's crazy.
No, well, you probably were called crazy by coming in and from a larger district and serving in this
Yeah,
little tiny metropolis, right? But you're serving students who grew up in ranching families who maybe been running equipment since they were, I'm not even gonna say it because it's probably an illegal age, right? But they're just being
right.
useful, right?
Totally.
Who understand weather patterns, right?
Yeah,
And livestock and land ways that no standardized tests will ever measure. So you're
right.
building systems for that student. And I think of, so many students that I've had an opportunity to, this system is not built for you. And I wish that we had something that was like more for your hands, to learn from your hands. But
Mhm.
you're developing that, but you're also creating all the conditions for somebody that wants to go to a 4-year uh, uh, university college to get a degree. I can't imagine how fluid your people must be on the inside and how agile your programs must be.
Yeah,
And just the joy of being able to work in a very small rural, and I think this is where it's at, folks, rural, where you can make those shifts and just make those kind of playbooks happen without having a lot of committee work to forge it
yeah.
through.
I think one of the best things that I've seen this year is we have really been cognizant about involving the students in what we're doing. And so when you say not a lot of committees, we actually have more committees now than we've ever had, but they happen during the day, and it's teachers and students getting together. And we were discussing, we actually put a committee together that looked at our schedule and our graduation requirements, and students were on there, parents were on there, teachers were on there. And as administrators, we just got to facilitate it and said, you guys build the system. Here's the parameters, and you build it. And we're probably coming out with the best product I've seen in public education, because it's the kids that are driving it. The kids are saying, you know what? Here, and it's funny because oftentimes I think we underestimate our kids, and we think if we were to give them more voice and choice, they're going to want to just have free time all the time. And our kids came back and they said, this isn't structured enough for us. We need to go back and have more structure put in.
You
And
must
that's
be
coming
hand
that's coming
selecting
from
the
the kids.
you gotta be selecting the front row material kids
Oh,
to serve
heavens
on.
no. Oh, heavens no. It's open, and we bring in, again, we're small. So, I only have 55 secondary kids, so grades 6 through 12. So every single one of them has a part of that. Even though they maybe weren't the 5 or 6 that were on that committee, those kids had to go back and had to visit with everybody, and we send out surveys about every month and just say, "How's it going? What do you like? What do you not like?" And At the beginning, it was what you see in every school is kids are afraid to say what they really feel. And I think we've put it in such a situation now where the kids are brutally honest
Hmm.
because we love it and nobody's ever getting in trouble. And it's just like, I want to hear what your perspective is on that. What do we need to change? How do we do that?
I
And
was a
every great change that we've made has come from a kid.
I was a 28-year-old principal coming in to a system where I was once a student, and the rumor was that the kids are running the school.
Yeah. Yeah.
They were looking at me saying, "This kid is running the school," but you
Right.
literally have kids that are running your school. And I'm
Yeah.
curious to know because the friction or the tension that I might imagine, you've got students that are coming together with a recommendation that staff are saying, "We really don't want to do that." Is there a power struggle?
Um, yeah,
Yes, there's
at
gotta be a
at
power
times.
struggle.
Yeah,
Yeah.
at times. And I think that again, so much of that has to do with our mind shift. Um, Carol Dweck, she's one of my favorites and just have learned so much about the way we think from her. And if we're really looking at that growth mindset, we're never excluding any concept, any thought. And so I think it's important. We tried to model as administrators that we establish what the scaffolding is, and
Mhm.
then let everybody else get messy in the middle of it. And at one point, they came back and we realized we had to change our scaffolding, right? We were approaching the whole concept a little bit different than what we needed to be do in order for it to make sense for Matizzi, as we were just trying to use bits and pieces that we had seen in other schools across the nation. And so it was an eye opener for us as well as administration to say, yeah, sometimes you even have to change what that scaffolding is.
Yeah. I mean, it's just that's mind blowing to think about how, the stuff that we manage that we might not necessarily have to manage. And I hope folks listening in here are just maybe doubling down on that as an opportunity. And you know what? You might have to manage it afterwards, but it might be worth a try. Let me just shift here a little bit. Rural schools, there's
Yeah.
a perception problem. Every rural leader that I work with is battling a headwind. You know that it predates all of your tenure, your predecessor's tenure. Small district equals low expectations. I mean, it's just this. Okay, uh, equals students who go somewhere else for a real education, right?
Hmm.
Um, that narrative, it's baked in. I think oftentimes college counselors, maybe maybe in Cody and Cheyenne, maybe they have that mindset, right? Your universities certainly have it. And how do you lead inside a system that already has a story about what your students are before they've even walked through your door?
I think one of the biggest things is you have to tell your story.
Yeah.
And so I take every opportunity that I have to put our kids in front of people. People don't want to hear from me, but they'll listen to a group of kids. So we've had an opportunity of taking different groups of our students over the last 2 years and have done presentations on the national stage, whether at the full scale symposium, at school boards association meetings. We want to put our kids out and have them tell the story of what it means to be a student in Matizzi. And with that, I've been blessed to have great partners along the way that have said, "Hey, we like what you're doing, and we want to help share your story." And it's always been good, and I stand back and I just marvel at
Mm.
how great our kids are, and I love I'm a teacher, right? We love being in front of people. We love doing that. And the first time that I said, uh, this next presentation, I'm not going to say a word. It's going to be all the kids. Oh, that was so hard for me to not want to just jump in there.
Give it
And
away. Yeah.
and yet you get through one of them, and I'm like, that was so much better than me being in front of anybody, and the message was so much more clear coming from kids than anything that I could have shared. And so I think that that is just a part of what we're doing right now, goes hand in hand with our project-based learning and capstone projects. That's coming next year. We're super excited about that. We're starting in our pre-K program. They're going to be building portfolios for a capstone project and showing competencies along the way.
So
And
capstone for each grade level, or capstone when I'm a senior, this is the project I'm going to be working on.
yeah, so there will be a capstone from kindergarten to second grade, or
Okay.
pre-K to second grade, and then they'll actually have an official project. They're doing projects along the way, but they'll have a capstone project. And then we've got third to fifth grade is a section, sixth to eighth grade. And then each year of ninth, 10th, 11th, and 12th grade, they actually have presentations that they have to make. And we're going to do these huge celebrations of learning at the end of the year. A couple of years ago, we got introduced to celebrations of failure. And people are like, why
Oh,
would
why
you ever
not?
celebrate failure? And I'm like,
Yes.
because it's our best learning tool that we have. So if we can celebrate that I failed at this, but I didn't give up, I mean, that's a celebration. So,
Love it.
we celebrate a lot too.
I love it. I love it. So I want to think, I'm a potentialist. So I think 5 years down the road, um, maybe you've discovered AI by then. That's a joke. That's a joke.
Right.
Maybe Wyoming has, but
Yeah.
consolidation pressures, they've gotten stronger, right? Not weaker. The state is having the same funding conversations as it's probably had in the last 30 years,
Yeah.
right? But Matizzi School is still standing,
Yeah.
and still leading in this whole capstone projects, doing PBL. What does it look like? And what has to be true for that to continue to happen?
Number one is the board. You have to have a locally elected board, or even if it's regionally elected, you have to have a board that embraces that,
Yeah.
that recognizes that a standardized test, which is how most people rank schools and districts, means nothing to a kid because it's never gotten a kid a job. It's never probably gotten them a scholarship. Maybe there's some that, do real well on an SAT and an ACT, and they're getting scholarships because of that. But a state standardized test, never. So you've got to have someone that says, we've got to be preparing our kids for the future, and a future that we don't even know what it's going to be. And so that's why it's so important for me to have the kids as partners driving that.
I think that's a great place to step off right there and move into this. Not that this wasn't fun, it was quite energizing and quite insightful. Thank you so much. We're going to move into this thing called the lightning round. Okay. You're doing superhuman things. I mean, most humans aren't aren't thinking about running a school system the way that you're running it. So I call that superhuman. But let's move into a lightning round. Okay. Is there a quote that you live by?
Um, no, but I have a purpose statement that I live by.
That'll work. That'll
And my
work.
purpose statement is I just want to be the man that my mother always thought I was. To her, I was on this pedestal, and when she passed, that really came
I love it.
to my heart that, what, if I could just be half the person that she thought
Hmm.
I would be a really good person.
That's so
So,
rich. So
but
rich.
thinking about that, the other a quote that I really do love is seek first to understand, then be understood.
Little Stephen Covey
Stephen
coming
Covey.
at us.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
and I probably like that because I really stink at it. And it's something that
Excellent.
I have to continue to grow and really process and say, Shane, shut your mouth and just listen. And I just have to be aware of that. Otherwise, I don't do it very well.
What's the worst advice you've ever heard in leading people?
Some of the worst advice that I've heard or even received is, "You're the boss now, so just do it." And obviously, there's been time in all of our careers where we've done that, and we look back and we're like, it would have been so much better to bring people along with us."
Yeah.
And I think that that's again a reason why where I'm at right now feels so great and feels so natural.
So does that tie into the best advice that you've ever applied in leading people?
Yeah, I think some of the best advice that I ever received is, Shane, you don't know more than what you think you know. So in essence, there's so much that I still have to learn that to think that I'm at a point to say, well, I know this, maybe I'll never know it. And but I need to just keep growing, and that comes to listening and being a part of continuing to develop as a learner myself. I think that we can't separate teachers, administrators from students. We're all just learners,
Yeah.
and we do better
So
if we learn together.
so true. How about an unpopular opinion that
Mm,
you're eager
yeah.
to defend?
Yeah, I hit a little bit on that, but I think it's still unpopular to push back against any accountability system that is based on a standardized test. We know that those tests are given once a year, maybe twice a year, and they give you a snapshot on what that student is able to show you on that particular day.
Yeah.
But really, we tell our kids that what you do on that state test, how you do on that state test does not define you, but how you approach it says everything about your character.
Oh, that is so good right there.
It
Boom. How
so
you approach it.
yeah, so it's not about how you did. Did you try your hardest? Did you take the time or did you get through 30 hard questions in 15 minutes? That says more about you than what your score will ever say about you.
So Wyoming Cowboys or Colorado State?
Oh, I don't even know what Colorado State is, so
Okay,
it's
that's
Cowboys all
why I
the
couldn't even say it. Yeah.
way.
How about something you've changed your mind about recently?
Um, One thing that so I've also been blessed to serve on a lot of different committees, and that just happens when you live in a small town.
Right.
You get elected to serve on college boards and all sorts of other things. But one of the things is we have a strategic doing team, and we're looking at how do we revitalize our community. How do we bring in new families? And yesterday, one of our partners in this indicated that maybe we're approaching things a little bit wrong as we're thinking about investors and trying to invite people to come and invest in our community. Maybe we need to take our community plan and say, hey, what are we getting wrong? And if you were ever going to invest in something,
Brilliant.
what would that change in our plan? And really consider them not a cash cow, but really considering even if they're not going to invest, their feedback's going to be great
Yeah.
and help us to just reflect and look and say, maybe we've been thinking about this wrong. Maybe we need to change that structure or that scaffolding again and shift the way we think.
So good. So good. How about a
Yeah.
career decision that you'd make 10 times over?
Being here in
Right
Meeteetse.
there. Yeah.
Yeah, went from
If
a
you're
s
not there, but what if you weren't there? What would you be doing?
if I was not here, I don't think I would be a principal. I think that I would find my happy place, um, being an elementary, um, grandpa, just
The
an elementary
greeter?
grandpa.
Yeah,
Yeah, just someone that goes into the classes and helps to read and stuff like that and just volunteers time, and I would probably have to make my living being a Walmart greeter,
there it is.
'cause that'd be great to just be out meeting people at all the time. And you walk into Walmart and you expect to see certain things. You don't expect to see somebody smiling at you when you
Yeah,
walk in,
there it
and
is.
that could change the whole climate of a Walmart.
How about a word for Park County School District's future?
Yeah, I think the word that I have continually changes in my mind, but I'm going to stick with growth. And I don't mean necessarily increasing population, although we want to do that. I'm just talking about the growth of each of us as individuals in Park County 16, pardon me, at Meeteetse School and in our community. I think we just need to realize that we can all grow together. We're never done learning. And if we can teach that to the upcoming generations, we're going to be in good hands.
Love that.
Yeah.
Superintendent Ogden, everybody, thanks for tuning in today. I think the general lesson here, and there's so many golden nuggets. If you're a superintendent, if you're a school leader, if you're leading anything, the question isn't whether you have the resources. We're just sitting and waiting for the right resources to do the thing. I love the fact that you said you have a strategic doing group. I was like, I get that. I get that. So it's not about waiting for the resources to do things differently. The question is more about, are you willing to stop using your constraints, right?
Yeah.
As a reason not to try. I really loved your student-centric approach to all things, which means you actually involve them. You invite them into core decision-making processes. So
Yeah.
if people want to learn more about your district, if they want to just learn more about how crazy you really are, how do they find the system, and then how do they find you?
Yeah. So our everything is just through one website for us here, and we're talking about small rural. I'm the webmaster as well. So if you see something on there that you don't like or is broken, let me know. Um, but it's PCSD 16, Park County School District 16.com is our website. Shane
It is a
Ogden
dot
on
is
LinkedIn.
it is a .com website,
It is a .com.
because some
Yeah.
people, like I did, oh, he messed up. No,
No.
it actually is a .com
Yep. We have
website.
.orgs as well, but we just know that .com is so much easier for people. So we bought that domain and are use that. I think one piece that I just throw in at the end here that you kind of hit on is any advice that I would give to any leader is, as a leader, I think it's our job to remove the obstacles. So it's not to be putting obstacles in people's places.
Yeah.
I think that it's our job when they come up and say, "Hey, I want to do this," and you're like, "Well, here's 5 reasons why we can't do that." Our job is to figure out how do we get rid of those 5 ways so that we can do that, and that takes um, it takes backing of your bosses to
Mhm.
say, "Yep, try it. Let's do it." And that's a good thing. So
It's
the other thing
really,
is
really
we
hard.
invite anybody to come and see us and visit with us because we learn more from you than what you're probably going to learn from us when you come. And we don't charge people like a lot of those other places do.
Well, I'm
We,
gonna pack up the
we just want to
RV and we
grow.
might be heading to Wyoming to go
I
check
love it.
out this mysterious place.
I love it.
Mysterious
We also
place.
have a world famous chocolatier in town. Amelia Earhart, she had a cabin that she built up the road, and so there's some great stuff here.
That's amazing. Thank you, sir, for spending some time
Thanks,
with
Dr.
us
Joe.
today. All right, this was fun. Keep your dukes up in the rural in the rural parts of. Say it again.
Matitsi, Wyoming.
Matitsi. There it is.
There it
Matitsi.
is.
There's the show, folks. Thanks.
Thanks so
Be-
much.